Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
I think I was about 15, 16, because the brother used to have certain things written on his wall, like a man dig their graves with their teeth. Say, man dig his grave with his teeth. What does that mean? It means you are what you eat. But as Rastafari, we see His Majesty as our yardstick, or as our mentor, as our teacher, as our guru, our great guru who have taught us the life. So in man, His Majesty dwells in man. Likewise, His Majesty dwells in animals. Likewise, His Majesty dwells in plants. His Majesty dwells in the earth. His Majesty dwells in earth, air, water, and fire. And is the irate that manages and creates, help us create whatever is created under creation. And I'm not seeing His Majesty as better or lesser than anything or anybody else, but in terms of Rastafari, this is our ultimate guru. So you see us here close to a river, sitting under this bamboo patch, reasoning about herbs, observing agriculture, observing farmers planting food on the land. So here they learn how to plant. Observing biogas, the example of biogas right on the land. Observing sustainable electricity right on the land. Solar energy is right on the land. Observing permaculture concepts being exhibited right on the land. So you have fruit trees, and right around the fruit trees you have turmeric. So you have crops there one time. You observe a man going into his patch and picking some pumpkin, and cooking it right there, right then. And the taste of what you eat. So you can learn how to cook, you can learn how to farm, you can learn permaculture, you can learn the importance of the water to the land, you can learn so many things, you can learn how to make blocks. So it was the black consciousness mixed with good nutrition, mixed with the use of herbs, mixed with our history, our culture, standing up for who we are, what we are. And we've observed that we've been consistent in pursuing that path, and that path has brought us much, even has brought us to Kazi today. So the universe is one, His Majesty is one, humanity is one. We are connected by spirit. We are connected by the ether. So the energy of the emperor permeates all through the creation and influenced and keep influencing us, and will continue to influence us tomorrow. So it's a vibration, it's an energy that is within a man, but has filtered through all human beings, even if they know it or not.
Okay.
And eventually we recognize that consciousness, that return to the land consciousness, that return to Africa consciousness, that love for our people at home and abroad, prevails. I had gone to the French colonies, that is Guadeloupe, French Guyana, which is in South America, and Martinique, because Ophelia was very popular in those countries. So she invited me. Her husband, who was her manager and is a manager up to today.
Who's Ophelia?
Ophelia is my mom's eldest daughter.
Okay.
She sings cant and calypso, which is a kind of zouk music. But she sings in patois most of the time. She's Creole. She sings in English too. So anywhere there are French-speaking people and Creole-speaking people, Ophelia is popular. So she invited me, the family invited me to come with them to French Guiana, Guadeloupe and Martinique on a tour. And Martinique was the final leg of the tour.
Okay.
In those days you could change your ticket even before you left Dominica, Martinique. So I was trying to change my ticket, and I was getting a little difficulty because the lady was saying we had to tell her prior to the very day. So anyway, she put me on standby and said that she would try her best to put me on. So on my way to have a seat to wait on the teller, I see this tall dude with a thing on his head, a hat on his head, just a different looking good dude, and I said hi. He said, and you can speak English? I said, yes. He said, I'm coming. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Dominica. He said, okay, when I finish checking, I will come to look for you. And that's how he came to look for me. He said that he was impressed with the way I walk, because I walk very slowly. And everybody else in Martinique was walking fast. So who is this man? So that is kind of how we met. And then when we met, he told me that he's a herbalist.
Yes.
And he was on his way to Dominica.
Yes.
And somebody had told him about Dominica, and he was convinced that that is where he wanted to live.
Okay.
So that's how Providence had me to be the one to usher Sebi into Dominica. What made Sebi popular in Dominica is a product that I carry called Cascara Sagrada. So he taught me how to make Cascara Sagrada by boiling it many times until it reached a certain consistency. Then you mix it with a crucial ingredient called vegetable glycerin. People used it, and those people who were constipated, they frowned as a result of its bitterness. But their constipation would go overnight. So he used it as a flush, very powerful herb. It's also called sacred back or sacred skin. So cascara means back, and sagrada means sacred, cascara sagrada. He saw Rastafari as a mystic because I asked him the question, how do you think about Haile Selassie, Sebi? He said, Haile Selassie must have been a mystic man. But to say that he was God, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
He said he looked at God as cosmology.
Yeah.
He looked at God as nature.
Yeah.
One of my first miracles in herbology.
Yes.
I experienced just using the example of Dr. Sebi.
Give thanks.
So that was the first experience. So you were doing something, you were not being a paper tiger, because I like to be in the sun. And to be in the sun collecting herbs that I can actually use to remove the stones of a man who, as a result of my treatment, wouldn't need medicine again, so-called medicine from the pharmacy again. Oh, what a joy. I had found my vocation, my brethren.
What year is this?
We're talking about 1978, between 1978 and 1980.
So you started as a herbologist prior to putting on locks?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
You know, and because everybody knew about me. Another experience I had, and with herbs, when you have knowledge of herbs, brothers and sisters out there, and you're inclined to want to be a herbalist, you experiment on yourself, on your family, people around you. And you'd be surprised what things you can achieve by getting to find out about the herbs around you. And so this cousin of mine was sick, she couldn't sleep. And she had gone to the physicians and none of them could help her, irrespective of how much sleeping pills they give her. And her daughter came and said, Mommy, Mama cannot sleep. Mama cannot sleep for a whole week. She never closed her eyes. Come and see what you can do. And Sebi used to talk to us about different herbs, including the blue vervain. In the Virgin Islands, we call it worry wine. We use it for different things. So because it was in the night, I forwarded to a place where I knew some blue vervain was growing. And because it was in the night, I asked, woke it up. You know, because herbs go to sleep in the night like humans go to sleep in the night. So the night is to sleep. So I asked permission of the herb to put my cousin to sleep. So please, vervain, can you put this lady to sleep for me? We look at herbs as neuter gender. Herbs are alive. I asked my younger cousin, who was a daughter, to boil the water, I'm coming. So she boiled. By the time I returned, the water was bubbling. So I took a good portion, maybe 12 leaves, 15 leaves of that herb, and I draw some strong tea and give her to drink and watch her sleep within 30 minutes.
Wow.
So little by little, with the experience that we had with Eddie, here I was getting another experience using local herbs that the doctors could not achieve. So there I was convinced, my brethren, that herbology, and not only herbology, natural healing was the way for me. There are certain men out there who look more pregnant than their wives.
It's serious.
And some of them look at the big belly like a badge of honor. So they convince those who don't know that this is a money belly. But this is a very dangerous situation, and I would even call it a situation. You literally full of number two. They look at you and say you're literally full of shit. Because what is in you there, my brothers, is waste. And you know when you go to the bathroom how that smells. Even waste, those of you who eat flesh, those of you who eat flour, those of you who eat processed foods, you know how a terrible stench in that bathroom. So it is waste that is there. And waste, that waste in the large intestine is the cause of most diseases. Because we know Ghanaian people love us. Then people lying and telling us Ghanaian people hate us. Fire burn that. This is Armageddon time, you know. This is revelation time. This is a time when we have to learn to even fast.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Yeah, I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces, good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth, worldwide. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine, ready to bust. I'ma give you that things get dangerous. Down in the ghetto, things get dangerous. On the battlefield, things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scanned and lost. And put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones to push. Just look into them history, see we rebellious. That's cause them systems so unjust. Take the shackles and chains, change them to handcuffs. Release your physical frame, them want your brain. Them a vampire looking for blood to drain. Highly Selassie come and break every chain. Bob Marley tell them, now we tell them again, yo. We tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you gotta only train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, or this a time for African people to rise. I tell them, earthquake, hurricane, tornado, the wind blows and brings rains. I got the whole west coast in flames, melt the Arctic poles and flood the seas. Hurricane force winds blow down the trees, whole earth feel the pain when the bombs release. Read your psalms, release David prophecies. Marcus Garvey said look to the east. Rastafari's the Prince of Peace, and Haile Selassie I come conquer the beast. Yo, they trap the youths with them luxuries to get the ladies. Gotta drive Mercedes, people killing babies, try to keep us down with AIDS. We descended from kings, now we surround with plague. Man, I kill them brother man to drive the Escalades. I can't stand Babylon and all the mess they made. Teach the youths that them best when them rest in the grave.
What do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's rightful ruler? Hey yo! Yeah, hear them high, hear the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just opening them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Banso, aka the Chazmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion Voice Vlog. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network and welcome to the Lion Voice Vlog special edition. We are here at the Kwaku Ando Sustainability Institute, Kazi, and I have a very special guest in front of I who I have formed a special bond with over the last few days here doing this nation building work. Lion Pride around the world help I to welcome the great Ras Bobby. Welcome, Ras Bobby.
Well, endless thanks to you, Bongo Kwasi. It's been a nice few days here at Kazi, which is in the Volta region of Ghana. First time in Ghana, and I'm meeting you here again. In fact, we were supposed to have an interview probably a couple years ago.
Yes.
It didn't happen, so I guess now is the right time, but it's really a special time to be here. I think we are among some real great minds. Soon we're going to be involved in the sustainability conference, and it's just a pleasure to meet you again and to reason with you, King.
Give thanks, give thanks. Powerful, powerful. We have a tradition on my platform where we ask our guests to step into the Lion Talk time machine and to take us to the moment of their birth. Tell us about the manifestation, where you were born, what was it like, and the journey to Rastafari.
Well, I was born in Curacao in 1956, born out of two, my dad and my queen, both from Dominica. So I spent 4 years in Dominica. I spent 4 years in Curacao, 25 years in Dominica, and I've been living in St. Thomas, the U.S. Virgin Islands for a number of years, in fact up to over 35 years old. Now I forward to Dominica again, so I'm all through the Caribbean really, because sometimes I'm in other islands doing things, but September the 10th, 1956. It's my birthday.
And what was it like growing up in rural Dominica in the 1950s?
Brother, growing up in Dominica was like heaven, I think 1960s. Heaven on earth. It's like Cassie. So we lived close to the coast, where we grew up with many brothers and sisters around us. And we created a great bond. In fact, we call ourselves Ghetto Brothers up to today. Once we meet, it's sentimental moments. And our whole backyard was fruits. Like 600, 700, 800 acres of fruits. In a place called Gourmet, there was another place called South Chilton, and then the Union Estate. All these estates within the island of the Commonwealth of Dominica, where nature abounds and where people walk and talk in the village. You walk through the village and everybody you meet, you say hi. And everybody knows everybody else. And we grew up in a time when you didn't even have to lock your door, which I suspect is the same experience of all the other islands of the Caribbean, until the age of materialism set in. So now you cannot keep your door open because somebody will go with your computer, somebody will go with your phone. It's a ridiculous reality right now. And part of the mission is really to help return our people to a more conscious level. Yeah, man.
Give thanks. Were there Rastafari in your community growing up? Did you see Rastafari brethren and sisters?
Most definitely. In fact, some of my best friends are Rastafari. So even in going to school, we met a great brother who is now in Shashamane, Ethiopia. His name is Bongo Kabinda.
Yes, so we interviewed him here on the Lion Voice Network. It's one of our classic episodes. The Legend of Mantrata, we call it.
So Kabinda was a very serious brother, very spiritual brother ready to make something happen. A brother who from a long time was talking about the repatriation trot to Africa, and has been living in Africa, I think, for a good 40 years. And this was his brother, and many other elder races who are alive up to today influenced us greatly in our upbringing. I remember a brother in our village named Abu, who was a vegetarian at the time, and many people didn't understand how people could live without eating meat. And so he was one of the pioneers. And then his friend named Lennox, his other brethren named Brigo, who were avid farmers, brothers who spent much hours in the hills, just farming all the time, planting food, planting weed. And yeah, man, a lot of races around. There were other races in town, other races used to live in the hills. They used to bad press them, of course,
yes,
calling us criminals and wicked people. And it had some dreadlocks who used to do some evil things, running farmers out of their land, but that was never Rastafari.
Yes.
Rastafari was always about peace and love, and they couldn't understand how a set of man, all of them man born in weed, and to them weed was taboo. You know, and it's a different time now, but in those days, a man know you born in weed, that was taboo. Man know you using weed, elder people know you putting weed in your food and you eating that food. They consider you crazy people. So that was the time we were living in Ras.
Give thanks. And for those who are not familiar with the island of Dominica, who was the colonial power that gave rise to Dominica? What language do they speak in Dominica? Give us a little history on Dominica.
Okay, so Dominica was a country inhabited by the Kalinago people from a long time. We understand among them were some black people too, so they call them Carifuna. And then the white man came with plenty more black people that they use as slaves to work on tobacco fields and cotton and sugar cane. So those were the days. And there were fights between the French and the English, and eventually at the time of independence, which happened like November 1978, I think November 3rd, 1978, Dominica became so-called independent in 1978.
Yes.
And since then, Dominica has been ruled by different premiers, with different prime ministers like Patrick John and Eugenia Charles and forget the brother's name, but then now it's controlled by Roosevelt Skerritt and his gang.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in terms of Rastafari, do you know the first Rastafari to touch down in Dominica, or do you know the history of how the vibration reached Dominica?
Okay, so we know of we check our roots by what we call Neg Maon, meaning the Maroons. So at one time Dominica had 13 Maroon villages all over the island. It's a 300 square mile island, and they combined with the Kalinago people to force those Europeans off. So we're looking at the first races as the Maroons of Dominica. Then you had people like, well, Nomwed and a brother named Blow, and you know, at that time.
What decade are we talking about when these brethren?
We're talking about 1960s.
Okay.
And then a brother came from the States with long locks. He came with his Caucasian wife, with their children, and people looked at him as a disgrace. But he was an original Dominican, and with pure Rasta culture. So he introduced us to this natty dread levity since the late 1960s. When I used to go to secondary school, this brother was in Dominica.
Okay. And what was your impression? What was your earliest memory of your first contact with Rastafari?
You know, I begin to know about Rastafari. I used to like to read. So there was this man who had written this book about Rastafari. I think his name was Joseph Owens. So he had a real dread photo on the cover, and just the photo intrigued me at the time. I said, wow, you mean that's a man here? And you know what a Rasta man outlook does to Babylon people. I think I had a similar vibe, but I never had a negative vibe about Rasta. I knew it was something that I wanted to overstand. I knew it was something that I would naturally gravitate to, because it's a movement, even if we don't thoroughly understand it at the time as a result of our age at the time and our experience. But it's something intriguing about the Rasta man that made us very curious, and so we wanted to find out, hey, what is this thing all about?
Serious thing. So, what teachings, or how old were you when you started to explore the teachings?
I think I was about 15, 16, because the brother used to have certain things written on his wall, like a man dig their graves with their teeth. Say, man dig his grave with his teeth. What does that mean? It means you are what you eat, and your food is your medicine, and your medicine is your food. So that's one of the things that Rastafari was involved in. You eat what you grow, and you grow what you eat. We eat food from the land. We don't eat no deaders. Deaders means we don't eat no dead flesh. You know, so all these were teachings that came along our way through, you know, different ways, but all with that strong Afrocentric vibration, mixed up with good eating, good drinking, exercising, the use of herbs. So it was a great feeling just getting involved in getting to know about those things, which were kind of new things to us. Even if in Dominica from small you eating mango all the time and you eating babadine and mandarin and shaddocks and avocado. I mean, we have that galore and on the eastern side of our village. On the western side is the coast. So here you had all kinds of fish. So man was mostly eating fish and ital, or ital and fish, until the Rasta man come and man start eating ital only. You know, so all these were times when we gravitated and you would hear those Rasta man and them, like Kabinda and them, who would be in town in a place called Four Corners. And would be reasoning with passers-by about Rastafari. I would even say arguing our status as Rasta, who is Rasta, what is Rasta. And they started hearing about somebody named Haile Selassie. Selassie, you know, or Haile Selassie would call him, or the Emperor Haile Selassie. And so there and then, there were those who we used to call Nomte. Those are just, the belief is that the creation is the intelligence, the creation is everything. And there was the Rasta man who knew that the creation was much, but also focused a lot on that entity, Haile Selassie the First, who he was about, what was his role in Rastafari liberty. And it was about we describing each other, oh, you're not a Rasta. Oh, you are Rasta. So Rastafari vibration always was focusing much on, you know, righteousness. So other than the ital and the Afrocentric aspects, a vibration of righteousness, a need to have a look at our greatest influences as people from our own ethnicity, people from our own race. There was this white man on the wall that didn't look like us, that they tried to push down our throat. But there and then some people were telling us that it's not about this white boy on the wall, it's about His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. At the same time, we started to find out also about Marcus Garvey. So it was the black consciousness mixed with good nutrition, mixed with the use of herbs, mixed with our history, our culture, you know, standing up for who we are, what we are. And we've observed that we've been consistent in pursuing that path, and that path has brought us much. Even has brought us to Kazi today, which is a microcosm of this macrocosm, which is the earth. So it's like heaven and earth. So you see us here close to a river, sitting under this bamboo patch, reasoning about herbs, observing agriculture, observing farmers planting food on the land. So here they learn how to plant. Observing biogas, the example of biogas right on the land. Observing sustainable electricity right on the land. Solar energy is right on the land. Observing permaculture concepts being exhibited right on the land. So you have fruit trees, and right around the fruit trees you have turmeric. So you have crops there one time. You observe a man going into his patch and picking some pumpkin, you know, and cooking it right there, right then. And the taste of what you eat. So you can learn how to cook, you can learn how to farm, you can learn permaculture, you can learn the importance of the water to the land, you can learn so many things, you can learn how to make blocks. You know, because this is an entity where you have about, is it 6 or 8 buildings?
Mostly 4. I think it's 9 buildings, 5 domes, and
9 buildings, 5 domes in this Rastafari entity.
No, four the octagon,
Right.
and then we have 5 domes, I believe. So that's 9 buildings, plus the lab,
Yeah.
plus the reception, plus the massage, wellness center.
So for those people listening, we want you to know that Rastafari has evolved over the years. And we have evolved to Kasi. So Kasi is an example that Rastafari can use through all the islands where Rastafari people live, all through Africa where African people live. And it's amazing how Rastafari have fused in this movement called Habisha, where people of from different islands come together under that energy of Rastafari to produce a region where even Rastafari and other black people can use as a hub, where they can come to acclimatize to African and Ghanaian society. They can come and they can learn how to farm right at Kazi. They can learn about permaculture. They can learn about biogas. They can learn about all those things in that space that is world class. We tell you, you need to come to Africa, brothers and sisters out there, to see for yourself. World class space with world class food, with the best races you can find, you know. So Rastafari is this righteous movement. We have come on the planet to show the world how to live in peace and love.
Yeah, and the point is not to be elitist, but to say that this can be replicated everywhere, because I don't want people misunderstand that the eye is saying that the best races are here. If you're not here, you're not the best. We're saying that this is an example of what we are capable of if we come together, working with our Pan-African brethren and sisters to conceive a new alternate reality to what Babylon has fed us.
Yes,
and I give thanks for that. So, as a youth, how old are you when you really start to ponder the divinity of Haile Selassie, and how does the eye relate to the divinity of Haile Selassie right now?
Okay, so from long time, man, I remember reading books like The Initiator and The Initiated, the Kabbalion, the Bible, Bhagavad Gita, all in search of myself as a Rasta man. And it was really when I read the Bhagavad Gita, which is what is referred to as the Hindu scriptures. The scriptures of the Dravidians, who were actually black people who lived in India, who followed this great way of life, this great levity, this understanding that life have to be lived in a holistic way, and that they gave reverence to their creator, who they knew as Krishna. Now I'm talking about a Dravidian level, an Indian level.
Yes.
And so I understand what people like Mr. Leonard Howell was forwarding to I and I. It was a similar concept. The only difference was Haile Selassie substituting for Hare Krishna. Okay. And not necessarily a substitution, but a similar thing happening with Africans in the Caribbean and Africans in Africa and all over the planet. So you have the Guru, which is have great reverence in Hindu movements, and they see the Guru as God also.
Okay.
And likewise you have the elders among Rastafari who teach the youths the culture from small, you know, and even you have the Bobo movement that reveres one of the great gurus of the Bobo movement, as revere him as the Most High also.
Okay.
Not necessarily me, but because I see His Majesty and Empress Menen as the balance of creation, the Alpha and the Omega,
Yes.
the Yin and the Yang.
Yes.
And it's not that I'm against the Bobo. I love the Bobo too. The Bobo is Rastafari too. The Bobo is Bingi. They use the drum. They use this great, beautiful African ritual of the drum, and we reach the meditative state likewise using the drum. So I respect them and what they think, but I just forward in my own perception that the King and Queen of Creation, Emperor Haile Selassie and Empress Menen, that balance is the balance that we're looking for as Rastafari in this creation.
Truly. And so how would, if you had to explain to someone your concept of the divinity of Haile Selassie, you know, a lot of people would say, Ras Bobby, oh, he's just a man. You know, why are you putting all of this on a man? How would you respond?
Well, the creator and the creation is the same being. So out of the creator come the creation. Because we are all made up of the elements, the land, the air, the water, the fire, and the divine spirit. But as Rastafari, we see His Majesty as our yardstick, or as our mentor, as our teacher, you know, as our guru, our great guru who have taught us the life. So in man, His Majesty dwells in man. Likewise, His Majesty dwells in animals. Likewise, His Majesty dwells in plants. His Majesty dwells in the earth. His Majesty dwells in earth, air, water, and fire, and is the irate that manages and creates, help us create whatever is created under creation. And I'm not seeing His Majesty as better or lesser than anything or anybody else, but in terms of Rastafari, this is our ultimate guru. And other than that, you have others who are gurus too, like Marcus Garvey, like the Bobo Emmanuel, you know, so all within the creation. So His Majesty is the creation is the extension of His Majesty. His Majesty dwells in all things. From small they teach us that the Most High is in all things. The Most High is also all things. So the irate, the divine irate, not the physical aspect of His Majesty. The irate of His Majesty dwells in all of us and in all things. You know?
And how I explain it to ones is that Tafari Makonnen, because of the creator in history, he was found worthy. Because he didn't come around the world to say, I am the guru, I am the Almighty, bow to me.
Right.
He had a liberty, and through his liberty it was revealed unto the people that this is the man.
Yeah.
You know? So it's never him who presumptuously declare himself, but it's always the people who declare him, even I and I as Rastafari people who declare him as the Almighty.
Yeah.
But you have others who call him the Prince of Peace. You have others who call him the Wonderful Counselor. You have others that call him, you know what I mean, the Rose of Sharon, all kind of things people call him, you know. Knight of the Garter. Every accolade was bestowed upon him. But it just so happened that these set of Africans in the Caribbean and around the world, we call him the Almighty God, you know, or the Almighty Creator. So, and it was the embodiment of that spirit we saw in Tafedi Makonnen that allowed us to say, no, this is the irate. You know? If the flesh is in full obedience and full synchronicity with the divine, you know, it looks like Tafedi Makonnen. But in this dispensation, he's the first that we see unrecorded, you know what I mean, in this digital age, because he stands at the bridge of the analog before there was photographs. So everything recorded. He stands on the bridge of that intersection of humanity. You know what I mean? How would you respond to that? Is that similar to how the eye would.
Yes, that's how I see it, and it's our ultimate example. Because really, the ultimate life is like what Bonnie Wheeler say: be not selfish in your doings, pass it on. Help your brothers and sisters in their needs, pass it on. Live for yourself, you live in vain. Live for others, you live again. In the kingdom of Jaman shall reign. And even in these modern times, with what we experiencing with President Ibrahim Traore,
Yes.
it gives an idea of what His Majesty was going through during those days when black people didn't have the stage, didn't have the world stage. Who is this little black man who's saying that he want to be part of the UN, became part of the UN, and is telling people that he's the Lion of Judah. The Lion of Judah, the Lion of Judah is the original man. The Lion of Judah is those who have civilized humanity. The Lion of Judah is that king, that righteous king who has come and who has declared himself at a time when it was almost impossible for a black man to have the world stage. And there was this great organizer, maybe the greatest organizer ever known to man, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, say, this king is coming. So within the Levity, we always see him as the forerunner to Yahshua,
Yes.
the forerunner to Haile Selassie. Even the word Christ, the forerunner to Christ. Christ means anointed. So His Majesty was anointed to be the shepherd of His people. And His people is Rastafari. His people is the children who are determined to express themselves, who is I and I, as the great renunciates of Africa. Many of us coming out of the West, recognizing who we are as Africans, and we determined to connect with I and I in the East, which is part of the mission here today. You know, to Rastafari have always facilitated the concept of repatriation, because we were kidnapped and brought across from the East to the West, and we determined to return. So Rastafari is not only His Majesty, Rastafari is the children of His Majesty.
Yes.
So we come together like Moses. Moses wasn't one man in my view. Moses brought forward a philosophy of transformation, a philosophy of Christ consciousness, a philosophy of cosmic and universal consciousness. So the universe is one, His Majesty is one, humanity is one. We are connected by spirit. We are connected by the ether. So the energy of the Emperor permeates all through the creation and influenced and keep influencing us, and will continue to influence us tomorrow. So it's a vibration, it's an energy that is within a man, but has filtered through all human beings, even if they know it or not.
Okay.
And eventually we recognize that consciousness, that return to the land consciousness, that return to Africa consciousness, that love for our people at home and abroad, you know, prevails and is just getting better daily, because even as I have children, I want my children to be better than me. And so we want the children of today to be better than those of yesterday. So that's why I'm saying that we are evolving. Because there was a time Rasta used to think it's just to live in a little 2x4. But we must remember that His Majesty lived in a palace. So these are examples for us to know that even on this mundane level, we have certain things that we can give ourselves to comfort ourselves, to put us in a better position to serve humanity, to live as royalty, to live as kings and queens. And so that is what I see as Rasta. These are the things that I need to do. And that is why I have tailored my life into the vocation of being a herbalist, being a natural healer, which is what I do as often as I can, almost every day.
How old was the I when the I fully embraced Rastafari, started to take on a covenant to yourself?
Okay, I basically was Rastafari ever since I got the right explanation from other races, including my brethren, my brother from DA living in Shashamane, my brethren Kabinda, Shorter. So ever since that time we had embraced Rastafari. At a certain point of our life we didn't have the locks per se.
Yes.
We just had the beard and we were not cutting our beard for nothing. And so ever since those days, and in like mid 1980s I started growing my locks, and you know, and it went through some of the hardships of being a dread, as they would call us at the time.
Yes. Talk about the infamous Dread Act that took place. Were you in Dominica at that time?
Yes, I was in Dominica at the time, and
you had locks at that time?
No, I didn't have locks at the time. We had afros in those days, so probably I had an afro like 4 inches long, and you know, in the evening the sisters would plait our hair, and little by little the plait hair turned into dreads, and that is how we end up, you know, just at different times. When the calling came, we realized, I got up one morning and realized that I couldn't comb my hair again. My mother she used to call me Ramage. Ramage was the name of a dread that used to live on the southern side of the village, between our village of Point Michel and Soufriere. And the guy just isolated himself. The brethren just isolated himself from the rest of the community. Knew nothing about Haile Selassie, but just felt that he didn't like the energy of the village, and he was one of the first dreadlocks examples that we had in Dominica. So my mother used to call me Ramage because she realized no matter what she did, my hair would always seem to be rumpled, and I never really liked to comb my hair. But through, you know, family and pressures at those days, it was difficult to just start growing the locks, you know, without creating a family or even a social uproar. But then it came a time when it just wasn't possible for me to comb my hair again. I got up one morning and I was absolutely dread, and have been dread since then. But was philosophically a Rasta man long before I grew my locks. Even when I met Sebi in 1978, because from 1978 to 1980 I spent much time with Sebi.
Talk about that too.
In the Commonwealth of Dominica. And that was consistent with the Rastafari way, because Rastafari was using herb, cannabis, but Rastafari was also using herbs like blessed thistle, which we call in Patois shadow beni, for coughs and colds and flus and circulation, including conditions like COVID. You know, and so Sebi coming into Dominica, I met him in Martinique, ushered him into Dominica, Providence brought us there, and from 1978 to 1980, we saw so many wonderful things. So here it was, this master herbalist came into Dominica, attempting to spend time, attempting to stay and work in Dominica as a result of a friend telling him how beautiful that place is. And couldn't stay in Dominica because the Eugenia Charles government refused to allow him to stay in Dominica. And I said, okay, you all don't want Sebi in Dominica, well, I shall be. Let me see what you all will do with me, who was a citizen of the Commonwealth of Dominica. And so that was the motivation that caused me to even get deeper into the natural healing, the way of herbs.
So let's go forward, Sikapin. Let's go forward. The first meeting with the legendary Dr. Sebi. How did that happen?
I had gone to the French colonies, that is Guadeloupe, French Guyana, which is in South America, and Martinique, because Ophelia was very popular in those countries. So she invited me. Her husband, who was her manager and is a manager up to today.
Who's Ophelia?
Ophelia is my mom's eldest daughter.
Okay.
She sings Cantan Slipso, which is a kind of zouk music. But she sings in patois most of the time. This is Creole. She sings in English too. So anywhere there are French-speaking people and Creole-speaking people, Ophelia is popular. So she invited me, the family invited me to come with them to French Guyana, Guadeloupe and Martinique on a tour. And Martinique was the final leg of the tour.
Okay.
In those days you could change your ticket even before you left Dominica, Martinique. So I was trying to change my ticket, and I was getting a little difficulty because the lady was saying we had to tell her prior to the very day. So anyway, she put me on standby and said that she would try her best to put me on. So on my way to have a seat to wait on the teller, I see this tall dude with a thing on his head, a hat on his head, just a different looking good dude, and I said hi. He said, and you can speak English? I said, yes. He said, I'm coming. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Dominica. He said, okay, when I finish checking, I will come to look for you. And that's how he came to look for me. He said that he was impressed with the way I walk, because I walk very slowly. And everybody else in Martinique was walking fast. So who is this man? So that is kind of how we met. And then when we met, he told me that he's a herbalist.
Yes.
And he was on his way to Dominica.
Yes.
And somebody had told him about Dominica, and he was convinced that that is where he wanted to live.
Okay.
So that's how Providence had me to be the one to usher Sebi into Dominica.
So did Rastafari have an influence on Dr. Sebi, do you think?
They were similar in a way, because Sebi wasn't Rasta.
Yes.
You know,
but what do you think he was influenced by I in any way?
Well, I think he was encouraged by the fact that he had a niche of people who understood that you could live without eating meat, who understood that you could have protein from plants and grains and nuts, and you didn't necessarily need fish, chicken or meat to survive. So in that way, he was a person who Rastafari looked up to as a result of his overstanding of itality,
okay,
which we didn't necessarily call it ital at the time, you know. But he met some folks who, I mean, Dominica is a place that's 95% Roman Catholic. So Sebi coming in a place with 95% Catholics, you know, the priest is concerned that an intellectual or a great healer is coming in his space and having more influence than him. So that was part of what contributed to decisions made about refusing to allow Sebi to be in Dominica.
Okay.
You know, but so he didn't necessarily see Rastafari as the Most High as we do. He saw Rastafari as a mystic, because I asked him the question. How do you think about Haile Selassie, Sebi? Haile Selassie must have been a mystic man. But to say that he was God, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
He say he look at God as cosmology.
Yeah.
He look at God as nature.
Yes.
It's like going up the hills in Ghana yesterday, day before yesterday. The brother was saying in times when God didn't have a name, we called the river God. You remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, so nature. Sebi more looked at as life as nature. Rastafari look at life as nature too. So it's just a different philosophical overstanding, in my estimation.
So what were some of the memorable things you learned from Dr. Sebi?
Oh boy, lots of things. What made Sebi popular in Dominica is a product that I carry called Cascara Sagrada. So he taught me how to make Cascara Sagrada by boiling it many times until it reached a certain consistency. Then you mix it with a crucial ingredient called vegetable glycerin. People used it, and those people who were constipated, they frowned as a result of its bitterness. But their constipation would go overnight. So he used it as a flush, very powerful herb. It's also called sacred bark or sacred skin. So cascara means bark, and sagrada means sacred, cascara sagrada. But probably the most memorable thing at the time was this rich man who owned bulldozers forwarded to Sebi after having heard about him. So when he came to Sebi, he had a stone in his bladder. He couldn't pee. He had stoppage of the urine. So Sebi gave him cascara, but he also gave him hops. Hops is the herb that is used to make beer. He administered cascara sagrada and hops, advised him as to what to eat and not to eat. We remember clearly he says stay away from cheese and cow's milk and eggs and butter. You see why I say Rastafari was like a
natural audience.
Yes, to Sebi, because we similar in that way. And the long and short of the story is that overnight the man urinated the stone. So here was this rich man unable to pee in one instant, and 14 hours after he had peed that stone. So he went telling all his rich friends what he had experienced. And his rich friends needed healing also, including the then Prime Minister who was holding the reins because Eugenia Charles had not been in power yet, but the government had been overthrown and somebody was holding in the interim. His name was Oliver Seraphim. So the other rich men came to him and other people, and just like overnight, everybody, because it's a little place of 75,000 people, everybody know everybody else, and so everybody started talking about this herbalist from living in Pont Michel, who and they giving the story of Joey Astafan.
Yes.
And so
that's how Dr. Sebi bust. Internationally, that was the beginning.
That was the bust in Dominica, because that was prior to Sebi going to St. Thomas and St. Croix. Because when Sebi was not allowed to spend his life in Dominica, because Eugenia refused to allow him, she had won election afterwards, and she refused to allow Sebi to come to live in Dominica. And that's when he went to St. Croix, which is the Virgin Islands.
Yes.
And then he went to St. Thomas. And so that's how we know of Dr. Sebi. So anyway, you were going to ask something?
No, I was going to say...
Yes, but in observing Sebi, my brethren, Personally, I just saw Sebi as somebody, a brethren who come to meet his brethren in DA. He was older than me.
Yes.
Because I think when I was 22, Sebi was 46.
Okay.
So he was like 24 years older than me. So an older man with more experience, very knowledgeable and a great storyteller. Even in the conference we had right now, we were talking about storytelling. One of the greatest storytellers I know
Dr. Sebi.
was Dr. Sebi. But he had information backed up with his storytelling, and he had experience backed up with his storytelling. But I was observing my brother coming to me, sharing and giving me information that I'm gonna be needing all my life, because coming out of high school, you're not trained to do anything specifically. You just have general knowledge of language, general knowledge of math and chemistry and botany or biology and whatever. But you're not specializing in anything. So there I was observing what I was going to do, because I recognized that it was basically about a know-how, to get to know what to do. Because when Sebi left Dominica, he had left us with some hops, and I had soaked that hops in alcohol that like he had done. And this man named Eddie, who was working for AC Shillingford, which was a so-called big company, a small company, but they call it a big company because it's a small place. He used to work at ACS, and he had stoppage of the urine, and he requested my help. And likewise, he had taught me how to make cascara. I administered the cascara and the hops as he had done, and had a similar experience, but even if it was more dramatic. Because after giving him the cascara and the hops, which are two bitter herbs, he freaked out on the taste and was sure that I had poisoned him. But the experience was that he was cleaning his bowels rather frequently, so he was using the bathroom like 4 or 5 times a day, much more than usual, wondering where all that waste was coming from. And he had used this other product which was also bitter but not as bitter, and then suddenly he felt a serious urge to urinate, but it wasn't happening. So he started trekking, he started trotting towards the hospital. O ye of little faith. So there was a playground like about 150 yards from the hospital, and when he reached the playground, considering that there was no bathroom available, he felt that he needed to urinate. And when he went to urinate, the pee burst like 20 feet away. So, one of my first miracles in herbology, I experienced just using the example of Dr. Sebi.
Give thanks.
So that was the first experience. So you were doing something, you were not being a paper tiger, because I like to be in the sun. And to be in the sun collecting herbs that I can actually use to remove the stones of a man who, as a result of my treatment, wouldn't need medicine again, so-called medicine from the pharmacy again. Oh, what a joy. I had found my vocation, my brethren.
What year is this?
We're talking about 1978, between 1978 and 1980.
So you started as a herbologist prior to putting on locks?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
You know, and because everybody knew about me. Another experience I had, and with herbs, when you have knowledge of herbs, brothers and sisters out there, and you're inclined to want to be a herbalist, you experiment on yourself, on your family, people around you, and you'd be surprised what things you can achieve by getting to find out about the herbs around you. And so this cousin of mine was sick, she couldn't sleep, and she had gone to the physicians and none of them could help her, irrespective of how much sleeping pills they give her. And her daughter came and said, Mommy, Mama cannot sleep. Mama cannot sleep for a whole week. She never closed her eyes. Come and see what you can do. And Sebi used to talk to us about different herbs, including the blue vervain. In the Virgin Islands, we call it worry wine. We use it for different things. So because it was in the night, I forwarded to a place where I knew some blue vervain was growing. And because it was in the night, I asked, woke it up. You know, because herbs go to sleep in the night like humans go to sleep in the night. So the night is to sleep. So I asked permission of the herb to put my cousin to sleep. So please, vervain, can you put this lady to sleep for me? We look at herbs as neuter gender. Herbs are alive. I asked my younger cousin, who was a daughter, to boil the water. I'm coming. So she boiled. By the time I returned, the water was bubbling. So I took a good portion, maybe 12 leaves, 15 leaves of that herb, and I draw some strong tea and give her to drink and watch her sleep within 30 minutes.
Wow.
So little by little, with the experience that we had with Eddie, here I was getting another experience using local herbs that the doctors could not achieve. So there I was convinced, my brethren, that herbology, and not only herbology, natural healing was the way for me. And I have done that ever since.
You talked about giving people herbs and then passing a lot of waste. I'm noticing a lot of Rastafari people with bellies, and people might think, you know what I mean, you're judging them, you're being, you know, superficial, but explain the health problem with having a big belly, waste retention, and maybe give some herbal remedies that people, because I'm noticing this is a trend in Rastafari now. There's a lot of big bellies among us, respectfully.
Yes.
Yes.
I tell you, that's a very serious thing. In fact, there are certain men out there who look more pregnant than their wives.
It's serious.
And some of them look at the big belly like a badge of honor. So they convince those who don't know that this is a money belly. But this is a very dangerous situation. And I would even call it a situation.
God.
You literally full of number two. They look at you and say, you're literally full of shit. Because what is in you there, my brothers, is waste. And you know when you go to the bathroom, how that smells. Even waste, those of you who eat flesh, those of you who eat flour, those of you who eat processed foods, you know how a terrible stench in that bathroom. So it is waste that is there. And waste, that waste in the large intestine is the cause of most diseases. Because if the colon, if the large intestines are polluted, naturally your blood gets polluted. Naturally your liver and kidney, which are your natural filters, get polluted. Then your skin get polluted. You find people pass through and the stench is so terrible under their arm, you cannot stay around there. So the waste stinks. We have to remove that waste. There is a book called The Sermon on the Mount, which was talking about this mystique named Yeshua, who used to live in the bush. And people used to come to listen to him because he was a great teacher, he was a great orator. And while those people were listening to him, a tremendous stench, the book says, permeated in the regions where they were listening, where the crowds were listening to him. because the people were so uncivilized, they didn't realize that they couldn't do number 2 right where he was talking to them.
Okay.
And the message he gave them on the Sermon on the Mount was, you go to the river and put water in your guts. And don't stop putting water in your guts until you remove all the waste from your guts. And the people did that. And many people get healed as a result of that. Right. Yeshua was a natural healer. Yeshua's life was about treating human beings with natural things, including herbs.
Yes.
Because we're not only herbalists, we're natural healers. You know, even as a natural healer, I give people herbs for medicine, but I'm also a nutritionist. I suggest what foods that they should use and foods that they shouldn't use. Okay. I suggest to them what exercises that they could do to raise their chi, yes, if they have a weak nervous system.
Yes.
So we have a mode of operation that is holistic in nature, that includes herbs. So yes, I'm a herbalist,
yes,
but I'm not only a herbalist. In fact, the message to the world is to remind I that our divine right is to become the mystic, you know, to raise your chi. You know, a life geared to raising the Kundalini. A life geared to acquiring the state of Christ consciousness. And for those who live in Dravidian territory, you may want to call it Krishna consciousness. And for those who live in Asian territory, you might want to call it Buddha consciousness. And for those who don't want any title, you may want to call it cosmic or universal consciousness. It's a state of consciousness that is the right of every human being. I call it the true reparations, my brother. It's the ability to transform self into the highest possible being. You know, to aim to be perfect. You know, it was a brother who said a couple days ago, even during this conference, there is no Superman, but there are men who do super things. So when you acquire knowledge, you get to find out how it is you can heal some people. Simply by treating people with some cascara sagrada, with some aloe vera and ginger, with some senna pods, with some buckthorn bark, even with a douche bag. If you can learn to use a douche bag and clean out that waste, just by removing the waste from the individual, healing is realized. You observe the skin get cleaner, the eyes get brighter, the man gets slimmer. And if you stretching at the same time, you flexing your spine, you slimming down your abdomen. There is a herb called Sene alata, you know, known as Acacia alata. It's fantastic for slimming down. Like people would say, that does cut down belly. Yeah, it does remove the waste. What is there is waste. Some of it is fat. So you exercise. If you were living in ancient times, you'd be walking every day. No, because we're living in so-called modern times, you want to drive every day. And so you don't exercise enough. You don't want to use a pickaxe or a hoe or a shovel or a spade, you know. So you're not exercised. If you exercise regularly, my brothers and sisters, especially breathing exercises and stretches, we did some Kwasi on this trip. Maybe you can even tell the people how you felt when we did them.
It's tremendous, you know, getting oxygen to the cells, focus, working on focus. My position is that this is the Armageddon time, and mind, goody, and soul must be, you know, we must be working on that alignment right now. And I can tell the Lion Pride, I've been waking up here 6 a.m., you know, exercise. Ras Bobby is there, you know, as an elder at 70. So he's not a man that just talking. I see Ras Bobby jogging at 70, putting on pace. He has his football boots here on the campus and has been challenging ones, you know what I mean, to a football match. So health is wealth. Obesity, you know, so to go with the bellies, you know, we have an obesity issue in Rastafari, overweight. And I'm saying this because a lot of I think we have desk jobs, you know, we're sedentary, we're not out, and especially a lot of the sisters, them taking care of the youths, them, you know, they're in survival mode, you know, probably there's not a brethren around, the stress of life, they're putting on weight. What would I recommend for the family that find themselves in this position, just overweight, not necessarily just a belly, but just overweight?
Yeah, my brother, people spend time in this precious life just making a living. So even Rasta people have forgotten how to live. So we have to return to living. It's about the levity, you know. Farming will give you exercise.
Yes.
So being natural beings that we are, a Rasta man and a Rasta woman, a Rasta child should be spending at least 3 hours in the sun every day. If you can do more, fine, but I'd say at least 3 hours in the sun every day. Now, I know some of us working and the children going to school. I understand all those things. But at least, if you're working every day, you're working 5 days a week. Out of the 5 days, 3 days a week, you can take a walk. It can simply be a long walk. At the same time, you want to stretch. You know, every dog that wakes up in the morning, the dog stretches every time it wakes up. The donkey stretches when they wake up in the morning. Human beings forget how to stretch.
Yes.
We say that stretching and the breathing exercises thing, is an Indian thing. Indian, not brown people too. Black people that teach Indian people that. In the pyramids have pictures of man stretching in yoga poses. Everybody afraid of yoga. Why should you be afraid of yoga? It's about controlling your breath. You know, teaching you how to focus. You do breathing exercises and just focus on your breathing. What can be wrong with that? Sometimes we act like we're so dumb as though other people smarter than us. They talk against those things because they don't want you to learn those things.
True.
My opinion is that every Rasta person, in fact every person who listening to me, should learn how to do stretches and breathing exercises. We have 7 main organs in our body. Different people call it different things. They connected to vortexes, electromagnetic centers known as chakras. You see. So we have energy that begins at the base of our spine and it reaches on the top of our head. And while it travels through, you know, like you see the medusa have like snakes.
Yes.
Coming from the base of the spine. Even the medusa is like a sword with snakes.
Yeah, that's the medical profession symbol too.
Right. So it's a metaphysical symbol for medicine.
Okay.
Medicine, but that is really your male and your female energy.
Okay.
So the idea now is to raise that energy through your whole spinal system, and as that energy passes through your spinal system, it repairs your internal organs. So the first chakra, it connects to your reproductive organs. Your second chakra connects to your pancreas, which is the area, your navel area. Your third electromagnetic center or chakra connects to your liver, which is the solar plexus area, the region in your lower chest area where you cannot take a punch. Your chest area connects to your heart. Your throat area connects to your voice box, your thyroid gland. Your sixth area connects to your eyes, your third eye or your first eye. And then the crown of the head, your optothalamus, where the soft part of the baby on the head. So these are your main nerve centers. So the idea is to awaken your consciousness, to opening your third eye and then connecting the two hemispheres of your brain, your male and your female hemisphere.
Okay.
So the Indian people will call that nirvana. So to reach that sattvic state. But it's just a word to reach, say you reach a state of higher consciousness. So my opinion is that everybody should strive to reach that state irrespective of what work you do. So that's why I've been saying on this conference here, we should become the mystics. Get involved in Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. We must stop being lazy. We must spend time in the sun.
Yes.
We must stay away from all that starch, that white flour, that white sugar, that white rice, that canned food, shell foods. And even in our experience here, right here, in this beautiful place in Ghana, hardly any starch on this trod. Maybe a minimal amount of starch, everyday salads. So if you get up in the morning, you should stop eating white bread first thing in the morning.
Yes.
You should stop eating cream of wheat first thing in the morning. Those things are constipating. These so-called foods are constipating.
Okay.
We should drink some tea first thing in the morning. Maybe you can check my Ras Bobby Herbal Products website. And you can see what I'm saying about Sene Alata. We have a number of different herbs on that website. See what we're saying about Sene Alata, and it's saying that Sene Alata is a diuretic. It will help remove excess fat from your body. It will also help slim you down because it acts as a laxative. It helps your digestion, so you need your digestion to be working absolutely good for you to maintain your slimness. But if you start the morning with maybe some warm water and lemon, if you come to me, I'll give you some Esiac and some Cascara Sagrada. But the lemon in warm water first thing in the morning is a good start.
Good start.
And fruits can be your breakfast. But eat enough fruits to satisfy you. Because of the roughage in the fruits, it will start cleaning your bowels. You often hear natural healers say, your food is your medicine. So it's not just about using herbs. Your food is your medicine and your medicine is your food. Eat not organic but ital fruits for breakfast. Maybe include some citrus to begin the day. Then papaya, banana, mangoes can be a good breakfast. It will help your bowels move. Instead of eating the fruits, you can have melons instead. You could cut the inside of the melons, blend it, strain it and drink it. That's it. You may think it's just liquid, but it's endless nutrients in melons.
I tell you.
Cantaloupes, honeydew. That could simply be your breakfast. So let's return to the land. We shall keep exercising as we return to the land. Let we eat more, you would say alkaline.
Yes.
So you have a choice between acid foods and alkaline foods. The acid foods are all cooked foods, starch, flesh. These are acid, these are highly inflammatory. But fruits, berries, melons, they are foods high in roughage, but they're alkaline. They are not acid. They are not inflammatory. They are not mucus forming. So these are the foods we should be eating. So in treating people, I may give them cascara. I may give them a product that I have called Esiac. I might give them another product that we have called Immunity Bitters. Okay. These will naturally purge you because they have herbs that purge in them. But the best purgative is the foods that you eat. You may want to get up in the morning and drink like 3/4 of a quart of water. If you do that, naturally your bowels will move, especially if your diet is fruits and melons and vegetables and certain grains like millet. the tropical grains, my brothers and sisters, the millet, the quinoa, the chia seeds, you know, the sorghum as we have right here in Ghana. These are whole grains that are alkaline. They help clean you out. They don't clog you up. So the best foods is foods that nourish you and clean you out at the same time. So you eat orange, you eat blackberries, blueberries, cherries, you know, the governor plums. All these you can have for breakfast. At the end of those sour fruits now, you want to use sweeter fruits like mango, like papaya, like banana. So you have acid fruits which you should eat first, and sweeter fruits. Eating like that and having salads at lunch with a little olive oil and lemon as your salad dressing, or coconut oil or grapeseed oil. These are oils without trans fats. The oil itself will lubricate your bowels and clean you out. So that in addition to what we're eating and drinking, the use of our oils is part of our treatment. So herbs, foods, enough high quality liquids, exercise, including farming, including spending like up to 3 hours in the sunshine. You can do it early morning if you want, late afternoon if you want, on your holidays if you want. But you have to keep exercising. Keep the blood flowing. Keep your bowels moving. Remove the mucus. Remove the phlegm. And do not eat too late. Some of you are so greedy, you want to eat like 6-7 times a day. This is Armageddon time, you know. This is revelation time. This is a time when we have to learn to even fast.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you're diseased. Starve the disease by drinking high quality liquids, coconut water, bush tea without sugar, vegetable juices, fruits and fruit juices, melon and melon juices, even soups. You can make soups with pumpkin and okra, you know. So you eat vegetables, but don't cook the vegetables, you know. You just cook the pumpkin maybe with a little chickpeas, turn the fire off, and that's when you put the okra and the spinach and the collard greens. Because if you boil those vegetables, it is transformed from alkaline, which is non-mucus forming, to acid, which is mucus forming. All those things cause disease because the acid foods, if you eat too much of it, it makes you sick.
That's right.
It clogs your nose, it clogs your prostate. And depending on what area of your body you have that high inflammation, they call it a disease.
What are some of the signs for brethren to look up for prostate? Because that's one of the key things for older brethren in particular. What signs do you think brethren should look out for?
Okay, you find that every time you want to urinate, you actually have to run to the bathroom before you pee on yourself. And sometimes you pee on yourself before you reach. So, as natural healers, we suggest prevention is better than cure.
Better than cure.
So there are certain minerals that you need, that your prostate needs to be maintained. And some of those minerals are zinc, which you get in turmeric, which you get in ginger, which you get in nuts. You hear the natural healers say, nuts are good for the nuts. Why? Because the nuts have zinc. You know, another thing you need is magnesium. Another thing you need is manganese. And don't be confused, you know, big words they have for minerals in plants, for minerals in foods, for minerals in fruits. So the saw palmetto berries, which is a very nice berry, you can Google saw palmetto and see.
Yes.
You chew those berries, it leaves a very mucilaginous finish, like it's sticky, full of zinc, full of magnesium, You eat that every day. So when you go to bed and you find yourself urinating often when you go to bed, you have a problem. Your body lacking in those minerals. Your body lacking progesterone. So we have to strike a balance between testosterone, progesterone, and progesterone, testosterone, and the other one, anyways, is enzymes in our reproductive organs.
Estrogen?
Estrogen.
Yes.
And when we lack them, we get sick. Foods you have to eat to cause you not to get sick is those nuts, you Brazil nuts, coconuts, you know, walnuts. You soak them. You may even want to blend them with water. You may want to use them with grains, you know, like millet and quinoa and chia grains. You could make porridge with them. It will supply you with the minerals to ensure that your prostate is not inflamed.
Okay.
Because when you have to urinate often, it's because your prostate gland is inflamed. You have a disease called prostatitis. So in a woman's case, she may have what you call vaginitis. So prostatitis is mucus, excess mucus in the prostate gland. Vaginitis is excess mucus in the vagina. So you have to use your hormones in balance. So if a man, we need more testosterone. So you may want to use some ginseng. You may want to use some cola nuts. Again, it's a nut. The nuts are good for the nuts. You know, you may want to use some stinging nettle. You may want to use some what they call guinea hen weed. You know, in Patois we call it Congo root, or we call it kojorik. All these guinea hen weed. You know, there is a herb called Damiana.
I've heard of it.
Yes, you use Damiana. Damiana can be used to reduce inflammation of the womb and also reduce inflammation from the prostate gland. It can also be used for a woman or for a man as an aphrodisiac. These help reduce inflammation of the womb and generally help remove inflammation from the reproductive organs of both man and woman. The hairy part of the corn silk. And brethren, we have a host of products for that. We have Essiac, which is anti-tumor and anti-cancer. We have bladderwrack flax, which is good to reduce inflammation from the prostate because of the saw palmetto berries and the fucus, which is the bladderwrack in that product. We have Hydrangea Plus, which has hydrangea and ginseng and black cohosh, fennel seeds, etc. in them that help reduce inflammation from the womb and also the prostate gland. I am not one who thinks that a man should only be treated with herbs that they consider to be male herbs.
Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, they have herbs that are female herbs like Don Quay and even the one they call Damiana, they consider it more to be a female herb. But man use it too. When man use it, that's why they call it honey goat weed. Honey goat. A honey goat is a goat that want wife.
So when you see honey goat weed, it's Damiana.
Damiana is honey goat weed.
I didn't know that. Okay.
You see, we have different names in different islands. So our process goes through ensuring the colon is clean. If the colon is clean already, fine, you can begin to use diverse herbs that are consistent with treating a specific condition. But if the colon is not clean, you have to make sure you clean the guts. That's what Sebi always used to emphasize. Clean the guts. Remove intestinal parasites. Remove waste. Remove phlegm. The same phlegm that is in your nose when you have a cold, that is in your lungs when you have bronchitis, is the same phlegm that is in your prostate when you have prostatitis.
Oh.
It's the same phlegm that is in a woman's womb when she have endometriosis.
Okay.
These are just big terms that describe the areas where the condition prevails.
Okay.
That's why it is paramount that we ensure that we clean the colon when treating any condition. If I'm treating you for your nervous system, to balance out your nervous system, I will tell you do breathing exercises. I will tell you use blue vervain. I will say use passion flower. But I will also tell you to use my cascara. Why? Because you need to clean your colon. And if not cascara, another purgative. Because the purgatives are necessary to clean the bowels, and something they forget these days in modern medicine. You have to give the people herbs that kill parasites.
Yes.
The papaya leaf will kill parasites.
Okay.
The worm bush will kill parasites.
Okay.
The cascara will kill parasites. You may be hearing me calling cascara a few times. Right? Because cascara cleans the colon, cascara cleans the pancreas, and I'm going through the chakra system in sequence, you know.
Yeah, man.
The cascara cleans the liver. The cascara helps clean the bloodstream. So that one agent does different things. And those products that I put together, we know how to mix different herbs that help the same conditions, that don't counteract each other, in products consistent with cleaning those conditions. So you clean out your colon with the cascara, and the Essiac help remove tumors, while at the same time you're suggesting to the people to use turmeric and beet and turnip as a juice, because that combination will help remove tumors, you know. At the same time, they want to use turmeric with a little black pepper. That also help remove tumors.
Okay.
So the food, the drink, the exercise, the herbs, is the way of herbs is a way of life.
Serious thing. In terms of if someone was limited to 5 herbs that they could implement into the regime, can you name 5 essential herbs that every Rastafari brethren and sistren, Pan-African brethren and sistren, should regularly consume or have these herbs close by? What would those be?
I would say 7 herbs instead of 5.
Okay, 7, all right.
So stinging nettle is one, because that will help maintain the reproductive organ. Or you may even want to say instead Damiana. So Damiana for the reproductive organ of both man and woman. And stinging nettle for both man and woman. For the pancreas, I would suggest Cascara Sagrada, because personally, my brethren, it's thousands of people we have administered Cascara Sagrada to.
Okay.
With various results, but for the pancreas, it's really extraordinary. For the liver, I would say the one we call Campesina, which we call chamber bitters. So it looks like tamarind, but it has seeds under the leaf. So in Patois, we call it Guenaba Fay. For the heart, I would say hawthorn berries, but on a Caribbean level, I would say even tomato leaves, the leaves of tomato. And there's a herb we call the bee flower. It's a pink herb. We call that herb what? Coralita or coral vine. Okay. If you will observe the leaves of it, it's all over the place. I'm sure it's all over the place in Jamaica too. It's a vine which has a pink flower on it. The leaves of it is shaped exactly like a heart. In herbology, what a herb look like is also what is good for. So that herb, I could use it for the heart. For the thyroid gland, sea moss. I would say use sea moss 3-4 times a week, at least. For the eyes, I would say eye bright. I would say plantain, the one they call English plantain, but if it's in Ghana, you call it Ghana plantain. If it's in Jamaica, you call it Jamaica plantain.
Okay.
And for the ophthalmus, I would say a herb like blue vervain, or ginkgo biloba, or gotu kola. So I would say this is a rundown of herbs for those specific organs and also for the chakra system that every Rasta should want to have. Even for the heart, cayenne pepper.
One of the things I wanted to touch on, this is your first trip to Africa. You know what I mean? Explain, you know, the feeling of being here and, you know, trod into Africa at 70 years young.
Wow, it's an experience that I can find no words to explain. But I would try. I would say exhilarating. I would say euphoric. I would say it's being in heaven on earth. This is the motherland. You know how many people have thought about Africa? Africa being the motherland, and I am now in the motherland at 70, observing my people firsthand. Oh my, it's just fantastic that I have been having this experience, and we give thanks to this movement, this Kasi movement here, for inviting me here to observe this Rastafari beautiful experience here in Ghana, while at the same time acclimatizing with ordinary Ghanaian people. We know Ghanaian people love us. Them people lying and telling us Ghanaian people hate us. Fire burn that.
Right.
And even as a representative of the Caribbean Rastafari organization, considering that I am the health and nutrition guru of the Caribbean Rastafari organization. I'm the chairperson of the Health and Nutrition Committee of the Caribbean Rastafari organization. And so we've taken the message from grassroots, ghetto, Savannah, St. Thomas, Point Michel, Dominica, Commonwealth of Dominica, to the region from Guyana to Barbados to St. Lucia to Dominica, Antigua, all through the Caribbean. We've taken that message, and to know that we can now take this message to the world through Kasi is a fantastic feeling. It makes me feel so good, my brothers and sisters. Even as you ask me this question, my brother, I advise in every black man in the West to return to Africa, or if not, at least once in your lifetime, visit this beautiful country. Kasi is a movement, a Rastafari movement, a first-class Rastafari movement here in Ghana, where there is a farm, where the concept of the farm is not monocropping, so we're not only planting banana. We're planting banana, but we're planting coconut too. And around the banana and the coconut, we're planting turmeric. And diverse herbs, foods in this one space, while at the same time the best food is served to you on an everyday basis. I don't know if it's an everyday basis, but I'm speaking like that still. Knowing that when you come, you have the opportunity to acclimatize to Ghana society, to Rastafari in Ghana, to the Pan-African, global Pan-African movement. And as a representative of the Caribbean Rastafari organization, it's an honor to be here. We mingled a little bit with the royalty of this beautiful village. What is the name of the village again, King?
Leate Wote.
Yes. to the king of this village, to the royalty, and the man to be crowned king soon, because the past king has passed, and there is going to be a simultaneous burial and ceremony for the new king, who we met yesterday with his family. So it's been a fantastic experience. Again, another experience we cannot explain, because the kind of the drumming and the singing and the synchronicity of voices and drumming and people dancing spontaneously, and we're getting an invitation from royalty to do that dance together with their people in front of them. It's ecstatic, just wonderful. You hear me using adjectives as we go along, my brother. This is a wonderful experience in a wonderful place.
Give thanks, and talk about what you have seen here with Kazi. We have some weather coming through, we may have to move.
Yeah.
But just quickly, what is your impression of the Kwaku Ando Sustainability Institute and the Global Black Food Sovereignty Summit and the ITAL Certification Summit and the now Black Sustainability Summit? What is your impression of the works that the IC?
Well, it's a small entity doing gigantic works, because we know we have a problem in the world with our food. We know less food is being produced on the planet as we speak. We know there is a need to change that around. So to have a summit just to discuss those things is very important. We know ITAL is something that Rastafari own. And for a standard to be made for ITAL, it have to be through Rasta. Rasta have recognized this and have joined forces with many mansions to make this ITAL certification a reality. I'm absolutely proud to be part of this. And in terms of just our sustainability, to be able to create a small space in a big continent, teaching you how to do the fundamentals, like teaching you how to make blocks with termite nests and cement and water, teaching you how to plant, teaching you natural healing, teaching you how to create biogas with rotten fruits and foods. I mean, it's a holistic approach in this microcosm of super consciousness in this beautiful region. And the brothers and sisters at the helm of this are angels who the Father have put in this place to cause so many great minds to come together in one space to reason on sustainability, to reason on food sustainability and general sustainability, and to give you survival skills. I mean, it's nothing better than that. It's like feeling heaven on earth. And I'm not saying that to flatter you, my brethren, Kwasi, who I know you part of this thing. The food we had was fantastic.
Okay.
I tell you every day, different food every day. The taste out of this world is food with pepper in it, but never too much pepper. You know, it's food with aniseed in it, but never too much aniseed. It's just, I mean, everybody on this flick here can tell you, is a world-class experience by a small group on a big continent, opening you up to the most wonderful place on creation. I give thanks for Cassie on behalf of St. Thomas people, which is Virgin Islands people, on behalf of Commonwealth of Dominica people, on behalf of the Caribbean Rastafari organization. We say thank you, big up, we love you, Rastafari live. Hail Selassie. Hail Selassie. Hail Selassie. King Rastafari.
So give thanks for blessing us on this. This is the first time Ras Bobby will be a regular. As I say, I lost our elder this year, my beloved Ras Iris, but His Majesty sending a new Aishend, Ras Bobby, well tuned, you know what I mean, in terms of just the energy and the chemistry. So you will see a lot more of Ras Bobby here. We want to do some regular things around health and wellness and healing ourselves as Rastafari, because we're not too big to heal. And to go into this next phase of the work, we have to become that divinity. We have to rise our vibration to be the embodiment fully of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I. So, give thanks, Ras Bobby. Just give us a final sound to the global family.
Yeah, well, we give thanks for Habisha, as King Kashan is right here. It's like he's walking right exactly at the right time. Because at the end of the reasoning, here he comes. And I want the item to know, you, King Kashan, and my brother Kwasi, the work that you all have done there is the work that probably 100 men couldn't do. And with the help of family and friends and very serious people, it is absolutely necessary. It's necessary on a Rastafari level, it's necessary on a Pan-African level, it is necessary on a global level. And it is a message to Africa itself. We simply want to tell you, it is time for us to become the United States of Africa. That is my final song, and you all making this possible, because that which you all have created can help whoever wants to repatriate to this beautiful continent, to come in a space, to be trained, to live in Ghana, to live in Africa. This is very honorable work, and I'm not saying that flattering the item. You all are serious apostles on the trod of Rastafari. Enough respect to the item for that.
Give thanks.
For your family, Kashan, that you told us at the beginning that we going to be eating from the greatest dub queen on the planet. And I have to admit that I kind of considering that this is true.
Yes.
Because every day since we've been here, Kwasi, you know it too.
Yes,
it's been a different
dish,
a different Pan-African dish. I think we need many new books from you as a result of what I see. And I mean, that crew in that kitchen just have the touch, my brethren. When you're in this place, you don't want to eat anywhere else. People who never eat those in a vegan way before, when they come and they eat from us, we see them every day now, every opportunity they have. Even members of the royal family, they come to eat that royal food.
Yeah, man.
So this is not flattery. When you spoke about your wife for a while, I thought you were saying this because she is your wife. But now I realize that you were really expressing that this talent is extraordinary.
Yes, So, there you have it, the great Ras Bobby. And again, this is only part one. We're gonna have Ras Bobby as a regular feature. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the lion's voice.
Yeah, Rastafari, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Tell the people about Empress Mene. Well, even if the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, but to the coming while we stand tall, I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start ball, cause they see the city streets them flood, but when the hurricane blow down their wall, I'll be by your side and me now but think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, that light was a lifeline. It seems like the world is upside down. I will never hide, I'd rather stand my ground. Lion of Judah blessed with the triple crown. Can't come fool I with no circus clown. Now fear no hurricane or the cyclone. Respect for Mama Earth with that embedded on me bone. That's why I will never leave you alone. Protect you from harm when the alarm sound. So even when the stars they fall and the moon turn into blood, through the coming war we stand tall. I will shower you with my love. And even when the people start mal, but they see their city streets them flood, when the hurricane blow down our wall, I'll be by your side and me not budge. Think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your light was a lifeline. I think I found the love of a lifetime. I love you every day or the night time. The Almighty, I made your light shine, and unto I, your love was a lifeline. They say hurt people, maybe that's why Babylon them so evil. Maybe Babylon abused as a child. That's why them no like the light when you smile. That's why them no like how your body curve. The way how you dance get on Babylon nerve. Them no know how the Almighty you serve. Want to be a queen, so a king you deserve. And I'll be by your side when things get worse. When the city flood cause the dam just burst. When you can depend on no state or church. Firm like a man in an highly Selassie firm.